Good morning, guys. Welcome to episode 3 of the 2019 MC Commute video series. I'm your host, Adam Wahid, senior editor at Motorcyclist Magazine, and today we're going to be riding KTM 790 Duke on the way to work.
Okay, here we go, guys. 2019 KTM 790 Duke. I apologize for the concrete machines in the background with their nifty flames, but let's get into this bike. This machine's all new from 2019 from KTM, an Austrian motorcycle manufacturer. And this is their new middleweight street fighter styled bike. You can tell right away it's a KTM with that stacked headlight. Looks almost very insect-like in its exterior appearance. And KTM says they do this for a reason. They don't want to put any body panels on the motorcycle that aren't needed. They want things to be exposed, like that parallel twin engine and that aluminum subframe on this bike. So very, very angular body work that's meant to really showcase the hardware that this motorcycle has. And it's a very, very pretty bike. If you pick up one of these things and ride it, you're definitely going to be standing out. It is very, very attractive. Ready to race. KTM really prides itself in making very aggressive, hardcore motorcycles built for competition. This thing is not built for competition. This is a street legal motorcycle that you and I can ride to work. So before we hit the road here, let's make sure we're in the right mode. We're in street. We can also select from sport, rain, and track. I like street though. For motorcycle, we're going to turn off some of the things. ABS, we don't need that, so we're going to turn that off just by holding this button. ABS is now off. Next, we're going to go into MTC. That's KTM's basically traction control, wheel spin control, vehicle stability control. We're going to turn that off too. We don't need that on for this ride to work. So we're on the road. KTM's 2019 790 Duke. This is a very special MC Commute. I've actually never even ridden this bike. This is the first... she's cold. This is the first time I've ridden this motorcycle. So it's going to be a first for you and I. Right away, sitting on this motorcycle, I've always been a big fan of KTM's ergonomics on its street bikes and its dirt bikes. She's cold-blooded. Cold-blooded. Rick James style. Back to the ergonomics, I've always been a big fan of KTM's ergonomics on their street bikes and dirt bikes. They always make these motorcycles that are designed for, you know, like properly proportioned humans. They're never set up for really small guys. They're never set up for really tall guys. They're just made for just a good average sized human. A lot of KTM bikes also have a lot of adjustability in them as far as the foot pegs and controls. The foot pegs are actually fixed, but the handlebar is set up in such a way where you can roll it forward or back. Another pleasing thing in the ergonomics department about KTMs is the amount of legroom. These bikes always have crazy amount of legroom. The foot pegs are always very low, and the seat to foot peg ratio always is very accommodating for a tall guy with long legs. Seat height feels pretty low. Got both my feet firmly planted on the ground here. Motorcycle is very narrow. You know, this parallel twin engine configuration makes things very narrow. Alright guys, we're going to use our signals and turn left. This is a hectic intersection, as you can see, but we're going to get right through it. Missed that light, unfortunately. Okay, green light and away we go. This thing's got some power. It's got some power, this parallel twin. So this engine configuration is all new for KTM. This is a 799cc parallel twin. Cylinders are here and here. And KTM went with a parallel twin configuration because they really wanted this motorcycle to be as compact and small and lightweight as possible. And to do that, they felt that a parallel twin configuration would be best. Obviously, KTM has a big history of making V-twin engines in their street bikes and sport bikes. So to retain that kind of V-twin signature feel, they actually did a really neat thing with the crankshaft and the connecting rods. They're at a 75-degree angle, and the ignition timing is exactly identical to that of a V-twin. So even though it's a parallel twin, it has the sound and general character of a V-twin. The sounds especially V-twin like. It almost is a carbon copy for the 1290 LC8 engine. But the feel of it's a little bit different. It's not totally a V-twinny feel to me. It still doesn't feel quite the same, but it certainly sounds the same. So an all-new engine for KTM. They have a lot of experience in engine development, whether it's street bike, dirt bike. This company's been building engines for a very, very long time. We put this motorcycle on our dyno, and it actually makes 95 peak horsepower, 95 horsepower at the back tire. What I think about the power band, what I think is cool about the power band the most is from just over 3,000 RPMs, you're making almost 50 foot-pounds of torque. Torque peaks out at 58 foot-pounds, but the spread of torque from 5,000 RPM all the way up to redline is basically almost at peak. This is a very well-designed power band, very much like the previous motorcycle we rode in episode 2. A very, very good power band and spread of torque, which is neat. So much torque and neat that we're speeding a little bit. Let's slow things down. Let's get down to the speed limit here. This engine has a little bit of vibration, you know, but it almost I kind of take back what I said at the stoplight about it not feeling like a V-twin. It actually feels very V-twin like. It's got that unique power pulse feel that I feel through the controls. Fun fact about this motorcycle is KTM, when they were doing the engine development of this bike, they had 48 engines running on the dyno for 180 hours non-stop. So each of those 48 engines would run on the dyno for 180 hours. It's basically 7.5 days non-stop. When a part would fail, they'd take it apart, look at what failed, fix it, put it back on the dyno, and go again. KTM actually recorded over 320,000 miles on the dyno on this engine. 320,000 miles on the dyno, and almost 600,000 miles during of actual road testing. I think they had about 10 or 12 bikes that each went 50,000 kilometers, and it totaled just near 600,000 road miles. So these things really were put to the test during testing and engine development of these bikes. So you know they're going to last. This motorcycle is actually assembled in Austria, Austrian-made bike. Away we go, guys. I think we have some traction control on right now because I just tried to goose her at the stoplight and she didn't really, I felt some intervention. Electronics wise, this motorcycle shares KTM's current electronics package. It's got traction control, it's got cornering ABS, it's got adjustable ride-by-wire powered throttle maps, 5-axis IMU, and wheel speed sensors feed data into the traction control system. Which allow it to respond based on, which allow the ECU to respond based on, you know, the vehicle's speed, the way it's angled, the lean angle. Forgot this thing has a quick shifter on it too. There's an electronic quick shifter standard. That means you can hold the throttle on and just upshift. Like the lever adjustment, there's a lever adjustment on the brake lever right there, so you can bring the brake lever forward or aft. I usually like the brake lever a little bit closer to the handlebar because I have a little bit smaller hands. Same with the clutch lever, knee adjustment. Clutch lever pull is very light, feels progressive, has a good weighted action to it. So the quick shifter allows us to upshift with the throttle open. No need to let off for a second or use the clutch. You just grab a gear. You can also just grab downshifts like that too. No need to use the clutch. And having a nimble motorcycle like this really pays dividends in this thick SoCal traffic. Everyone's slogging the way to get to work. If you want to save yourself time and money and effort, get a motorcycle and you two can split through this traffic and get to your destination in a timely fashion. You don't have to worry about your boss yelling at you for being 30 seconds late. In first gear here, you can kind of feel the engine stumbling a little bit, like it's running a little bit lean. It's probably in emissions condition. So a little bit sputtery off the bottom here in first gear. Not bad, but something that I'm sure you could address with a power commander and a good map. Custom maps always help these bikes run and ride so much better. You know, it's kind of expensive to have someone do it, but if you're really into your motorcycle and you want it to run and ride good, you should invest in that. Oh my god, look at these people, we're gonna be screwed. How about we just go? Yeah, we're gonna go. The shift throw, the actual throw between each gear is a little bit long. Maybe not as precise as some of the Japanese bikes I've ridden recently, but not bad at all. Let's see what we're in here in the motorcycle mode. Yep, this stuff turned on again. Let's turn it off. All right, we're back. ABS off, traction control's off. Where we go? Whoa, she's got some power. 414 pounds is a very nimble motorcycle. When KTM was actually developing this bike, they baselined their own 690 Duke for the handling characteristics. They wanted this bike to handle as agilely as a single cylinder 690 Duke. That was the baseline. And just moving it around right in this lane, you can feel how light this bike is. Steering geometry doesn't feel exceptionally aggressive. It doesn't feel like it sits aggressively low in the front and high in the rear. It actually feels real neutral. There we are, back in the menu. You can manipulate all this stuff via the switch gear here on the left control where my thumb is. Tactile function's pretty decent. You know, the buttons could maybe feel a little bit more crisp. I know a pesky German manufacturer is always really good at delivering in terms of tactile touch and feel. I think if KTM could kind of copy what they're doing a little bit, that would be good. Brakes on this thing, we have a triple disc hydraulic brakes with ABS. You can of course turn the ABS off manually, which I always like doing. Calipers are actually branded KTM, but they look like the lower spec Brembo cast radial mount pieces. We got a nice radial mount master cylinder here, and the brakes feel pretty good to me. They're very sensitive, but not overly sensitive. Whoa, that thing comes up quick. Yeah, you're going to be exceeding the speed limit very easily on this motorcycle. This thing really packs a punch for an 800cc bike. Now we're getting on the freeway, guys. Wow, no traffic on the freeway going to work. This is awesome. Cruising in top gear, just over 4,000 RPMs at 65 miles per hour. I like the tallish gearing on this thing. It means you're going to get some decent fuel mileage out of the thing. I haven't ridden this bike enough to actually be able to give you any MPG information because this is my first ride on it, but I encourage you guys to check out motorcyclistonline.com, cycleworld.com, search 2019 KTM 790 Duke. They might have some MPG specs in there. Doing my best to obey the speed limit. Some guys in the comments were saying, oh my god, he's going so fast, how do you ride like that with that? So we're gonna follow the rules. Engine vibration at this speed is fairly muted. I feel a little bit of that V-twin power pulse character, which I like, but I'm not annoyed by the little bit of buzz that there is. There is a little bit though creeping through the foot pegs and the handlebar. So a little bit of buzz, but definitely not off-putting. Kind of makes you feel the sporting character of the motorcycle. This motorcycle rolls on on Maxxis tires. Suspension is WP, an inverted fork up front, shock absorber in the rear. No suspension adjustment aside from spring preload on the shock that allows you to adjust the ride height of the motorcycle based on your handling preference or how much load the bike's carrying. Suspension works pretty good on the freeway. I mean, we're riding over some rough stuff, and it's a pretty supple ride. Suspension doesn't feel spongy. Rebound damping isn't overly fast. I'd say KTM built a pretty good bike with this 790 Duke. Thing looks cool, has good character. It's got good power. It's pretty comfortable. Even though some of the components like the brakes and suspension are a little bit basic, works pretty good to me. Rear shock operates directly between the frame and swing arm. There's no linkage. That helps reduce weight. Yet the shock action's still pretty responsive. We haven't really been able to wail on it through the corners. That'll be the real test. But knowing KTM, they have a lot of experience with that PDS shock system on their dirt bikes. No link. I'm sure this thing will be just fine. A couple other neat points about this motorcycle is the guy who engineered it, the chassis, he actually races super mono motorcycles at home. So when he was making this bike, he wanted a bike that you could really lean over far before any hard parts drag. And even though the foot pegs feel a little bit low, giving you good legroom, the ground clearance on this motorcycle is supposed to be very high, because that guy who's engineering it races super monos, so he knows what it's like to crank over a bike in the corner and not have any hard parts drag. Of course, we can't test that, but we'll take KTM's word for it. For you track riders out there too, it's super easy to remove the rear fender and the tail light. So if you want to take it to track, you just drop off the mirrors, pull those components off, and you're ready to go. I love how you can just downshift without using the clutch on this bike. All right, the wheelie test. Let's do second gear. She wheelies good. She really is good, but the throttle is a little bit synthetic feeling. It's a little bit jumpy. That ride-by-wire could use a little bit smoother programming. Not bad, but definitely feels like a ride-by-wire bike and not a traditional cable actuated throttle control system. Sorry guys, we forgot to do the back it in because we were talking so much. I'm sure this bike would do pretty good with the backing it in though. Well, here we are guys. We're here at the motorcyclist office. Some of you guys are giving us grief for not stopping to talk about the bike, so let's do that real quick. There she is guys, 2019 KTM 790 Duke. It's a nice motorcycle. Would I plop down $10,500 for this bike? It's a lot of money to me for a mid-size street bike, especially considering the more budget componentry of the two-piece cast brake calipers, non-adjustable suspension. You know, seems like kind of a lot for this bike, but geez, it looks really good. It sounds good. It's comfortable. It's fast. It's lightweight. It's a pretty neat bike. It's something that's going to, you know, command a lot of attention at bike nights or at the stoplight. It's something different. You know, and look at this big rear passenger seat. If you ride two up, you're going to like this bike. I mean, look at that big seat. You're going to be able to bring someone with you, and they're going to be comfortable. So I don't know. It's a neat bike. I really enjoyed riding it today. I can't wait to spend some more time on it. But if I was looking for a middleweight street fighter, upright sport kind of bike, this thing might do it for me. It looks cool. It's fast. It's fun. And yeah, if you guys want to know more about this KTM 790 Duke, please log into motorcyclistonline.com. Check out cycleworld.com. They may have some reviews of it there too. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys next time.